we can take that employment letter and then now we can take your history in school by getting the transcripts and showing what your major is, and that will take care of your 2-year work history. Let's get into pillar 1, income. So let's say you're a W-2 employee. What we want to do now is we're going to have to get into the work history component of it. The lender typically is going to need 2 years of work history. So you're going to want to start to track, your documentation to make sure when the lender needs you to prove something, you can prove it. At the application level, when you're submitting the application, you got to make sure you fill it out correctly so that we see that you have your 2 years of work history. Time in school counts towards your work history. Let's say, for example, you go to school to be a nurse, right? When you leave school, you get a job. Well, guess what? We can take that employment letter and then now we can take your history in school by getting the transcripts and showing what your major is, and that will take care of your 2-year work history, right? So it doesn't matter what you go to school for. As long as you're getting into that same field for your employment, then we can use the time in school to count towards your 2-year work history. Self-employment time counts as well. So let's say, for example, you're an electrician and you work, you just did it on your own, or you're a plumber or AC tech and you were just independent doing your thing on your own for a couple of years. And then you get hired by a company and now you're a W-2 employee. We can still use the self-employment time. Even if you were in a different field, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be the same, because just remember this, when you're moving from self-employed to W-2, it doesn't matter. We could use that work history. Where it gets a little tricky is when you're moving from W-2 to self-employed, but we won't go too deep into that. I'll touch on that when we're getting into the self-employment loans, the 1099s and so forth. Now, for W-2 borrowers, sometimes it's fine. Like, let's say you're salaried and your salary shows up on your pay stub, or you're paid hourly or bi-weekly. It shows up on the pay stub, and you're not variable pay. You're truly full-time. If you're truly full-time, then we're fine with the current pay stubs you have. If you're variable pay, my nurses, you're going to understand exactly where I'm coming from. On a nurse's pay stub, you're going to see shift 1, shift 2. You're going to see all type of stuff on there. We have to get the pay stub, the final pay stub for the end of the year, because we're going to have to average out the income for the last 2 years plus the year to date. If you get overtime income, bonus income, commissions or tips, or your pay is variable, hang on to those final pay stubs every year. The one that matches up with your W-2s and shows what was the total for your regular pay that year. What was the total for overtime, bonus, commissions, in every income category? You're going to need that when you're getting pre-approved for a mortgage.